Well, top of the morning to you, everybody. Good to have you here. A little delay this morning. We're trying to make sure the Instagram was working, but the IG says something went wrong. Please try again later. So I was just fumbling around with the Instagram, saying prayers over the IG this morning, but it ain't gonna happen. So if you know a friend that usually watches us on Instagram, sorry, we'll try to figure out the problem. It's not a problem on our end. It's just every once in a while they call them RMTP connections. They don't work out as well as they could. So anyway, sorry, Instagram. We miss you today, and hope you'll find us on other platforms. Hey, that's important for you to know. By the way, my name is Jimmy. Jimmy Lakey. On this glorious day the Lord has made, it's the third month of the year, 25th day of March, year of our Lord 2025. It is a Tuesday in America, and I'm glad to have you here. Years in corporate radio, I have been unleashed from the bonds of corporate radio and people that don't care about real programming. I've been unleashed from that bond, and here we are. Behind the microphone, and you're in front of the speakers and hopefully the video, and you get to see the whole thing in all of its glorious array of beauty, broadcasting in what we call the House of Lakey for the Lakey Unleashed streamcast. Good morning to you. It's important to note here before we get to some of the news of the day that if you ever do find the platform that you're watching on, let's say it's the Instagram or let's say it's the YouTube, like this morning, the Instagram's having issues. We're on all sorts of platforms. As Coach Deion Sanders said when he came to the University of Colorado, we ain't hard to find. You just got to find us, okay? Just find us. Let me go through the reminder. We're at least on 3 different Facebook platforms. Facebook.com/Jimmy Lakey fan page. That's my personal fan page. Brian Maloney over at Facebook.com/Red Wave America and Facebook.com/The Media Equalizer. We stream live to their access to about 250,000 people betwixt those 2 pages. We're also on the X or the Twitter, as we used to call it. Back in the good old days, it was called the Twitter, and it's just my name, Jimmy Lakey. We're on Rumble. Look up my name there. Soon we're going to work on getting on the TikTok so that the Chinese can see what we're doing. That's going to come up. That new handle, by the way, on TikTok is Real Jimmy Lakey. Just Real Jimmy Lakey on TikTok. I've not put up any videos, but I was signing up for it last night, and Real Jimmy Lakey will be the TikTok handle, and we'll get up on TikTok here as soon as we can. But if you're out there and you ever find yourself wandering like the children of Israel in the wilderness for 40 years, saying, where do I find Lakey at? Where do I find him? He's not here. I miss him. Because your platform is not working. Well, you need to know that there's other platforms you can find us at. And I'll say it again. We ain't hard to find. You got it? All right. News of the day. How about that? We do that. A security breach. A little fumble. Fumble sticking around, as producer Chad would say a different word there, happened in the National Security Agency. Have you heard this story? Now, nobody's going to get fired. Not sure it rises to the level, or everybody makes mistakes. I'm not sure. National Security Advisor Mike Waltz has no plans to resign after the Atlantic's reporting of a signal security branch. Here's what happened in the story, and I'm sorry I had to cut the audio out of my ear. President Donald Trump is not planning to fire National Security Advisor Mike Waltz in the wake of Atlantic's reporting of an apparent national security breach, according to Fox News. A source close to the president tells Fox News that Waltz's job is safe and that he is not on the chopping block. Fox is told that Waltz has no plan to resign and is sticking to his schedule on Tuesday, which is today. He'll be talking to the Russian counterpart of the Black Sea ceasefire and has plans to speak to Trump as usual late Tuesday. Waltz is also telling his colleagues that he has never met or talked to the editor-in-chief of The Atlantic, Jeffrey Goldberg. Now, here's what happened. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt released a statement Tuesday. Said the National Security Council earlier said the Atlantic's report referenced what appeared to be an authentic message chain. Jeffrey Goldberg is a well-known sensationalist spin doctor. Facts about his latest story. So the Atlantic says, hey, here's what we know. There's a security link here. Here's a chat and a back and forth message between national security teams. And it appears that Goldberg's number was added to a contact card by one of the staffers. So it was kind of a group text on Signal. Signal is a private encrypted text chain in which you can text message and things, but much better than like instant messenger or something like that. So supposedly Goldberg's number was added to the contact card. And so when they blasted staff that were getting the text messages, Goldberg was reading it. So we will see what happens here. Democrats on the House Armed Services Committee are calling for Walz's ouster after the breach. They said this is an outrageous breach of national security and heads should roll. We need an investigation, a hearing into this. And maybe you need a hearing, okay, fine. But isn't it amazing that if Goldberg had said he was a whistleblower and somebody had come, they would celebrate if they found out the information and the information was made public just because, I don't know, maybe a journalist said they stole it. But now that they say the information is public because they were on a text message, it's a different thing and heads got to roll. They don't care about the information. The point is that they're happy the information out there. They don't care if the information's out there. This is just an opportunity for them to say, we got to fire that guy in the Trump administration. Again, if the information got out there because of a leak to the media by an unknown source, or the information got out there because of some actual journalism, or the information got out there because someone on the House Armed Services Committee, as a Democrat, leaked the information, they would be fine with the information getting out there. It's not about the information for the Democrats. It's not about national security for the Democrats. It's all about... You ready for this? It's just all about they hate Trump. They just hate anything Trump, and they hate anything Trump, and they're not worried about national security in the least little bit. If any Democrat on that House Armed Services Committee wants to cry about national security, I got something you can cry about. How about the millions of people that were allowed across our southern border under the Joe Biden administration? How about those millions of people that came across, unvetted, unscreened? Some of them in the height of COVID, when you were so freaking out about vaccinations, most of them were unvaccinated, un-COVID tested. So don't you Democrats out there start lecturing us about national security and how concerned you are about national security, because you have done nothing in the last many years to prove that you have any damn interest in national security. You got it? You hear me? Democrats, don't be, I want to let you speak out of both sides of your mouth. Don't pretend that you're all pro-national security and we can't have a leak like that when we've had a southern border that leaked like a sieve for the last 4 or 5 years, and you Democrats didn't squawk a bit. And now that we're trying to get some of these criminal illegals out of the country, you Democrats are going to court and standing in favor of Trinidad Aragua. I think the branding of the Democrat Party should be the Democrat Party, the party of Trinidad Aragua. Remember, we had the Trinidad Aragua problem right here in the glorious state of Colorado, where I sit my butt here behind a microphone. And as you listen across America, guess what? Colorado's beautiful this time of year. Going to be a glorious, wonderful day in Colorado. But guess what I have to tell you? We have a governor here that, even though Trinidad Aragua was taking over our apartment buildings and wreaking havoc and raising crime rates in Aurora, Colorado, and across Colorado, we have a buffoon of a governor who's a Democrat, who's a celebrator of Trinidad Aragua, who denied and said, there's nothing to see here. There's nothing to see here. There's no Trinidad Aragua in Aurora. There's no Trinidad Aragua in Aurora. Not at all, nary a bit. And there was. And some of those people have been deported to an El Salvadorian prison. And the same party of the same guy, Jared Polis, our governor, that stood up for Trinidad Aragua and tried to cover them up, is now the same jackwagon party that's saying, don't deport him, don't send him off to El Salvador. We want those adorable deplorables right here in America. Democrats, don't lecture us about national security. You have no standing, as the courts would say. You have absolutely zero standing when it comes to national security. You got it? We settled that? Very good. Speaking of, this is not on my show sheet, but I want to tell you this. This is funny. I was signing up for the TikTok. You know how you know you're old when you call it, what's that called, the Tic Tac? Oh, hang on. I see my name. Listening to the world-famous Jimmy Lakey from the middle of the Caribbean this morning. I hope you have your clothes on. Well, if you're in the Caribbean, enjoy. Let your freak flag fly. That's what I say. No, don't, please. And don't send photos if you do that. That's not this kind of show. National security, they're not concerned about it. So I'm signing up for the TikTok, and every old person that wants to say, what's it called, the Tic Tac? Listen, even I know it's called TikTok, okay? I know it's called TikTok. And so I opened up my account, and I was with producer Chad when I did it, and opened up the account. It's called Real Jimmy Lakey on the TikTok, right? Real Jimmy Lakey. If you're a TikToker, woohoo! I'll be doing sporty dance moves and showing my feet and what. I don't know what you do on TikTok yet, but I'm learning. We're coming to TikTok soon. Real Jimmy Lakey is my handle on TikTok. Real Jimmy Lakey. So I got back home after meeting with producer Chad, and opening the TikTok account. So I had my phone. I was sitting in the Lakey estate outdoors with a fire pit and smoking a cigar and drinking Kool-Aid. Well, maybe. And so I opened up my phone and I opened up the TikTok on my phone. And you know who the first pop up, or I don't know what they're called, story or the meme or the video that pops up. I don't know the lingo of the TikTok yet, but we're coming to TikTok. It's at the real Jimmy Lakey, real Jimmy Lakey. If you're on TikTok, I want to open up this phone in a minute and see. I got a lot of new followers out there because I'm sure a lot of you are hipsters on the TikTok, right? A lot of you. Maybe not. I may be lying on that one. It was Jared Polis, the governor of the state of Colorado, is on the TikTok. And you know that'll foul up the taste of your cigar just to have to look at his big buffoon ass. So I look at it and I look at he's doing jazz hands or something, I don't know, and he's dramatizing some song about how he hates tariffs, right? And he's just a buffoon and idiot, and whoever lets him do that stuff they're probably protecting America because his antics like that, plus his husband, that are going to keep him from ever being considered a serious, and his record in the state of Colorado to be a serious candidate for governor in America, or president of the United States. He used the hashtag. You know what hashtag he used? Tariffs are evil. Tariffs are evil. Now, this is what do they say? Tariffs are a tax that get placed on the people, right? So they say tariffs are evil. And yet Jared Polis has not found any kind of a tax in Colorado that he's found as evil. He's passing a lot of things that are basically tariffs. If you want to get your license plate registration, they pass them and they call them fees. Whether you call them a fee or a tariff, it's still a tax, right, Jared? And Jared thinks they're evil. Well, Jared, you actually don't think that they're evil. Again, don't lecture us about what is evil when it comes to passing on expenses to the American people or the Colorado people. When you, sir, if I may call you that, and I use very loosely the phrase sir, when you, sir, have cost the people of Colorado a hell of a lot of money. At least the tariffs are technically being extended to other countries. You, Jared Polis, you lying Sacagawea, you have imposed all sorts of expenses on the people of Colorado. And it's just interesting to see, again, trying to stand on a moral high ground. Jared, there's a lot of places you can stand in your career. But listen to me closely. Moral high ground is not it. I'm not sure there's an issue out there, Jared Polis, that you could ever find a moral high ground to stand on. I just don't think there is. And again, putting a hashtag tariffs are evil, it's all real cutesy. It's all nice. And you can do the jazz hands with the music behind you on the TikTok, because we're coming to TikTok. But Jared, you have no moral high ground lecturing the tariffs are evil because they pass on to the American people and their taxation. And yet, Jared, you have never found a tax, or as you like to call them, you lying Sacagawea, you like to call them a fee. And deceive the Taxpayer Bill of Rights here in the state of Colorado. So no moral high ground for old Jared Polis. None at all. Nary a bit of moral high ground for him. That was not on the show sheet. It just came to my mind because we're coming to TikTok. TikTok. I don't know. What is it called? Is it called? You send out a tick or do you send out a talk? You know, like on Truth Social, you send out a truth. On Instagram, you put up a reel, I think is what it's called. On TikTok, am I ticking or am I talking? I don't know yet. But I'm going to find out because we're coming to TikTok. Everybody go sign up at TikTok. Real Jimmy Lakey. Real Jimmy Lakey. Real Jimmy Lakey. All right, so the national security breach. The Democrats lecture us about national security, but they really don't give a damn about national security. Jared Polis lectures us about tariffs and taxes and how much it costs people, and yet he's proven as a governor he never, ever, ever cares about taxation or people in your pocketbook. Don't let them deceive you. As the Bible would say, be not deceived. Therefore, brethren and sisters. I don't think it says that, but it sounded really good to put it in who's the guy that used to read the Bible on tape, Bible on cassette? Alexander Scorby. I'm dating myself. Yeah, Alexander Scorby. And that, I should have had a wrong career. I should have read things like a voice. Yeah, a voice guy. Oh, that's another place we're coming to real soon. You ready for this? You're going to do the Cameo. Anybody know what Cameo is? My friend Nate Lofton, a former Harlem Globetrotter, has been on me 2 years now. Every time he sees me, you on Cameo yet? You on Cameo yet? And I'm like, no, I'm not on Cameo. Cameo is where you can actually pay money and we do things for you. Not like OnlyFans things, not like that. It's we can record birthday greetings. So if you have a favorite liberal, like Jared Polis, and you want me to record a birthday greeting, hey Jared, how you doing? Happy birthday! You know, you pay money and we send it to him, and that's what it's called, Cameo. It's fun. A lot of famous people are on Cameo. Then I'm going to go there. I have a bet. Somebody said maybe you get a couple $100 a month. That's good, right? I said, listen, if I make a couple of $100 off Cameo, I'm buying producer Chad a steak dinner. Just one. He's not getting. If I get it every month, he's only getting one. Because I'm not sure. We're going to do Cameo as well. Joseph says, so Lakey's going to start on the TikTok. Nice. Going to follow now. Real Jimmy Lakey on the TikTok. Real Jimmy Lakey on the TikTok. Now it's going to take a learning curve. It's going to be like a monkey screwing a football here to try to figure it out for me, because we're like all these things that producer Chad says. I like clean them up for family friendly stuff. I just clean them up for the family show. I really do. Most days. Most days. It's gonna be like a monkey fumbling with a football there, and we're gonna figure it out. Come to the TikTok. Coming to the TikTok. All right, I gotta get more news. You people don't distract me anymore. What's up with Jasmine Crockett? Anybody down in Texas? Who is this lady? She sprung a sprocket. Crockett has busted a sprocket. It's right there on your screen. Yesterday, we talked about how Pam Bondi was warning her that she was talking nasty about Elon Musk, said he's got to be taken out. And then she said, oh, I didn't mean, I meant different ways, not physically. Sounded a little bit like a threat to most people, and Pam Bondi warned her. Well, now you got Crockett, Jasmine Crockett, and we asked the name yesterday, and no one could confirm or deny whether that's her real name or her dancing name. Still not sure on that one. Just not sure about her dancing name, but if Jasmine's not her dancing name, what is? Usually if you're going to choose a dancing name, you choose a German car. Porsche, Mercedes, Stage 4. I've heard from friends. I don't really know that. Crockett has busted a sprocket. This time she's unhinged about Senator Ted Cruz. Have you heard this one? Well, you're bound to. This is a story from Fox News. She has unhinged threat against a prominent U.S. senator. Let me tell you the story. Progressive, liberal, bat crap crazy idiot Jasmine Crockett sprung a sprocket in Texas, where she represents. She's being slammed online as unhinged, using violent rhetoric now, implying that Ted Cruz has to be knocked over the head like hard. Let me say that again. Yesterday, she was saying we got to take out Elon Musk, and now she's wanting to bludgeon Ted Cruz to death by knocking him in the head. Ted Cruz is responding to the controversy by posting a meme on X. Crockett was recently warned by the U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi to, quote, tread very carefully after calling for Elon Musk to be taken down. We use the quotes there. Seemingly not heeding Pam Bondi's warning, another interview clip surfaced today of Crockett advocating for, figuratively, she says, punching her fellow Texan Ted Cruz. In response to a question about how the Democrats can win elections, specifically in the red state of Texas, Jasmine Crockett, is that her dancing name? We're not sure. But she says, I think you punch and you punch. Where do you go? I think you punch and you punch. And I think you okay with punching. I think you okay with punching. She's a linguist, isn't she? It's Ted Cruz, she went on. I mean, like, this dude has to be knocked over the head, like hard, right? Like, there's no niceties with him, like at all. Let's go clean off on him. You go clean off on him. Responding to the clip, the White House's Rapid Response X account called Crockett another unhinged Democrat inciting violence. And people say, well, that's just Jasmine Crockett. Well, why the hell is it that the Democrats don't condemn Jasmine Crockett? Rather than giving the excuse, well, not all Democrats like firebombing Tesla dealerships. Not all Democrats. I get so tired of pussifying some of the words where you say, well, I know some real nice Democrats, but these people are unhinged. Do you really? If you're claiming affiliation with the Democrat Party right now, that's not condemning Molotov cocktails, not condemning violent rhetoric against Elon Musk, not condemning this type of bang people in the head, bludgeon them with a hammer type from Jasmine Crockett, are you really a nice Democrat? I mean, we have to, at some point, just call what it is, and what it is these people are unhinged. So Jasmine Crockett is now saying yesterday she wanted to we gotta get rid of, we gotta take care of him, Elon Musk, and now she wants to beat Ted Cruz with a hammer and hit him in the head over and over and over again. These are really nice people, are they? They're really nice people. Let's go back to the thought we had yesterday when we got mad at wokeism and progressivism in the Bud Light industry, in the beer industry. We just simply stopped drinking beer. Just stopped drinking the Bud Light. That's all we did. I don't remember any Molotov cocktails in a convenience store or liquor store. I don't remember anybody saying that we should bludgeon. I think what was his name, her name, its name, Dylan Mulvaney. I don't remember anybody saying we got to off Dylan Mulvaney. I don't remember any conservatives that are supposedly the intolerant among us saying that we need to off Dylan Mulvaney or we need to hit him in the head over and over, like hard, hit him in the head. Nobody. We just said, I'm not going to drink Bud Light. We're not going to drink Bud Light. That was it. And yet the Democrats out there have Jasmine Crockett as their standard bearer. I wonder if there's an intense rivalry between Jasmine Crockett and AOC. Watch where I'm going here. You would think that they're sometimes allies together, like Marjorie Taylor Greene and like Lauren Boebert. Very passionate ladies, conservative ladies. And yet, if you follow it, they don't necessarily have a love lost between each other. They have clashed heads a little bit. And I'm just wondering if Jasmine Crockett is wondering why it is that AOC, the bartender from New York, gets all the attention. And if Jasmine Crockett looks and sees how AOC has gotten rich, according to her congressional filings, off of $175,000 a year, but she's all of a sudden worth a lot of money. So you have to look at it and go, maybe Jasmine Crockett says, listen, I just got a dancing name and from Texas. And if the girl from New York who's just a bartender can make a lot of money by being insane and crazy in Congress, maybe I should do the same thing. I'm just throwing that out there. I just don't know if they're, because I guarantee you they have women like that are Kardashian type, desperate for the spotlight, desperate for the attention, maybe didn't get enough attention growing up or whatever caused it. They like the attention that the media is giving them because what happened? Rush Limbaugh used to say this: if the media makes you, they can bring you down. And that's why they hated on Donald Trump. Donald Trump made himself, and he got himself there. He wasn't lifted as a punk of the media. It's like Chuck Schumer. Chuck Schumer is shown to be the best and the brightest in the Senate for years because the media didn't talk about what a jackwagon he is and how ineffective he was because he carried the water. And now the media is doing everything they can to bring him down, and Chuck Schumer probably is not long for that job. And so I'm just wondering if you have Jasmine Crockett and AOC, eventually these media darlings that more like watching a reality television show than watching anybody with dignity. I'm just wondering if there's going to be a little rivalry go on between them because both of them seem to want to say the craziest things. And it's going to be interesting to see what Pam Bondi says. Again, can you imagine a J6er? Somebody that supported January the 6th or supported thought about election shenanigans or anything like that. Can you imagine them using language like Jasmine Crockett's being allowed to use? We got to bang them in the head. We got to unhinge. They say a lot of crazy things. Yeah, Melissa pointed this out. Yeah, when we got tired of the trans agenda and the LGBTQ, QRS, TUV, WX, and Z agenda, when we got tired of that, what do? We stopped shopping at Target. When you got mad that they were having what was girls swimsuits with a place for your twig and berries, because if you had a transgender child, you wanted to have a girl swimsuit with a place for the twig and berries to go, right? Because you identify as one, but you want to wear the other. And so it's going to conceal your twig and your berries, right? Well, what do? We stop going to Target. It's real simple how conservatives deal with things. We just don't buy it. If you don't want a Tesla, don't buy a Tesla. You don't want a Prius, don't buy a Prius. It's real simple. Ray says Jimmy Crockett is showing us that it's hard to remove the ghetto from some people. You can take the, what was Ellen DeGeneres? At least at that point, she moved out overseas and the trash took itself out. That's good news. Ray's out there. Everybody's chiming. I'm looking at the chat room and says it's all out there. Oh, Joseph says this. Now this is good. It says Joseph says it's not too late, Lakey. You could still record the Bible voiced by Jimmy. That'd be pretty cool. I think it would be as well. How much that package cost on? In what version? Then we're going to get all these people that the NIV is heresy. You only have the King James version. That's the one the Lord used. I'm like, well, that came back from 1611. I don't think Jesus was still on the planet at that point. But hey, if you want to say that's the Lord's translation, you go right ahead. So, and then I'd have to do several translations. And in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. How'd you like that? That sounds ooh, some of you raising your hand to come to the altar right now. You felt it. For God so loved the world that he gave his own. I think we could do this. This could be a new venture. I mean, producer Chad and I have a lot of expensive hobbies, and this could be a very long and expensive hobby. Yeah. All right. Nice to have you here. Hey, let's take I was mentioning J6. And if you're not on the Patreon page, we got a Patreon recording coming up this afternoon. It'll go up on the page this week. It's about the devils at Davos, Switzerland. We're talking about the International Monetary Fund. That's a long-form interview. I'm going to record this shortly after the show ends today. A couple of weeks ago, last week, we had Rabbi Schumbach talking about the mental health industry and how we medicate mental health issues rather than help your Joseph says, just record yourself in morning readings and put them on TikTok. Be the Bible guy. It's not a bad idea because I don't know what to do with TikTok yet. I'm not well versed into TikTok. I don't know if I'm going to tick or talk. Which one do we do? I'm not sure, but I'm going to find it. Real Jimmy Lakey. We're coming to TikTok. Patreon.com/Jimmy Lakey is the Patreon page. And last week we talked about mental health on the TikTok page with Rabbi Schumbach. And fascinating that the people who have overcome real tragedies in life, like a survivor from Auschwitz, figured out that the way he dealt with his mental health and found purpose in life after all the hell he went through was a different way than what therapists oftentimes in medicines tell you to do now. So, it's an interesting interview with the rabbi. Today we're going to talk about Switzerland. A couple of weeks ago, we put this one out. If you haven't seen it, this was a really fascinating story. And when I was recording it, we recorded it about a month ago. If you haven't seen it, it's Shane Jenkins. He was a J6 prisoner. And at a point, we're going to just show you a snippet. This is all behind the Patreon paywall, patreon.com/Jimmy Lakey, patreon.com/Jimmy Lakey, patreon.com/Jimmy Lakey. All right, now here's what you got to know. And this was pretty raw stuff. Now, I don't think this is the segment where he does this, but there were a couple of times in the interview, and you'll see it if you go to the Patreon, subscribe. He got a little he's telling the story, and you can see he was like hard to tell. And it hit me that was only 28 days before this, I think, or 31 days before this. But he was telling a story as if I asked him to tell a story as if it was years ago, and he's actually telling a story that's still present in his mind. This is Shane Jenkins. And again, patreon.com/Jimmy Lakey. It's $9.95 a month. Interviews drop at least once a week. Good Lord willing, sometimes twice a week. Last week we were behind, but we'd done 2 before. And that's because I was out of town. But there's going to be another interview or 2 this week coming. And $9.95 a month, 7-day free trial. And it's longer form interviews. And some of these interviews we can't play here. I mean, if you start talking about the word that starts with a V and ends with an X, and I'm holding it up in a sign in my hand, if I can get the sticky note off here we go. If we start talking too much about that, they'll shut us down off the tube that starts with a U. They'll kick our butts off there. And so it's a great platform, patreon.com. More interviews dropping this week. All right, this is Shane Jenkins, J6 prisoner. This interview is available behind the paywall, patreon.com. It's a fascinating, almost 1-hour interview and conversation. Roll it.
Starbucks and some protein packs, and then one of them checked their phone and said, "Oh my gosh, they've stormed the Capitol." And so after that, I was like, I don't know what is going on, but I've got to make my way down to the Capitol to see what's going on. So, the government tried to say I was intent on overthrowing the government. Well, if you can stop for Starbucks on your way to overthrow the government, then it can't be that serious of a government.
So the Capitol had been breached, I guess, and you show up with your Starbucks and protein packs going, I'm going to see. Walk us through what happened then.
So I made my way around to the west side of the Capitol, and when I approached the grandstands, the temporary grandstands that they erect for the inauguration, it looked like somebody had kicked a fire ant bed, and there was people climbing all over the grandstand, and I was just like, what is going on? There's a giant American flag draped over it, and I was like, I'm just going to go see what was going on. I still had no clue exactly what was happening, but I climbed up to the lower west terrace and soon found out what was going on.
At which point did you go in the Capitol? Did you, there's video of everybody kind of walking through. It didn't look like there was a storm. It looked like people taking a tour. Did you go in the Capitol, or how did you end up getting arrested?
I did not go into the Capitol. I was on the lower west terrace and witnessed people being brutalized. I was brutalized myself by the police, pepper sprayed in the face 4 times, assaulted from behind with the baton. I was right next to Victoria White whenever she was assaulted, hit with the baton 32 times in the head for doing absolutely nothing. Literally, Roseanne Boylan died on the lower west terrace steps, feet from me. And so I did witness a lot of stuff. I don't like to try to hide the fact that I did break out a window because I wanted to. The window is replaceable, but those people that are getting hurt are not. And so I would rather them not go to prison for assaulting police officers. And I figure if we go in through a window, that's a path of least resistance. So that can be replaced. But
so that full interview is up at my Patreon page, patreon.com/Jimmy Lakey, /Jimmy Lakey. And again, there's a lot of interviews on Patreon that cannot air here because of the sensitivity of the topics. There's still a little bit of censorship out there. For instance, we did any questioning on this topic right here, especially when it came to the booger cootie virus. That's what we call the COVID shot, the COVID thing. Any topic of that gets us shut down and banned for YouTube. And we're like on strike 15 on YouTube. I'm surprised we've lasted this long. So there's a lot of topics here. We're not trying to just gouge it for money, but there are some topics that, first of all, we want to explore in longer form. And there's also some topics that are more sensitive in nature. We've got one coming up, I think next week on the JFK assassination files. And that's, we can do a 10-minute drive-by on the show on it, but it's there's a lot more to dive into. Gonna do one about the great mind of Elon Musk. I'm recording that one on Thursday, I believe. And it's a biographer about Elon Musk, and we're going to really dive into all things Elon. So patreon.com/Jimmy Lakey. I appreciate it. It would be a great way for you to support this wonderful program and what we do here. And this daily update is free, thanks to a lot of great sponsors. And we appreciate all of them stepping in here. If you'd like to sponsor, you can. But the Patreon page is a way that you can help producer Chad and I grow the House of Lakey media empire. That sounds actually pretty good, right? It sounds good. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe we'll see what happens. We will see what happens. Speaking of great people out there, 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning. You see me drink from the River's Promise. That's our charity organization. Right there at the bottom is 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning. They bought these cups for everybody at our golf tournament last year, and I happened to procure one as well. Corey Clinton and the team are fantastic. If you're in Colorado, where we're broadcasting from, you need to call them. I used to always push the mantra, they're always on time or you don't pay a dime. But then I got to know them even more. Is more important than that. It's the professionalism, the warranties, and the industries. I've had people say, well, I got a cheaper bid somewhere else. And then a month or two later, a year later, they said, I should have gone with your guy. These guys are pathetic. And you should. Listen, Corey Clinton, the team of 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning, ready to help you, my friends. As we're in Colorado, start kind of get that warm weather. You're like, well, soon enough, we're going to turn on the air conditioning. Now, Colorado, we could have a blizzard next week. But we're starting to feel the warm weather, starting to see a little greening going on. And you need to make sure that AC, because you know what happens? You get the hottest day of the summer, and all of a sudden the AC goes out, and you're entertaining, and you're like, oh, it's hot out here, hot in here. And make sure they can, oftentimes with preventive maintenance, a courtesy check, if you will, or a service check, I call it a tune-up, they can find problems lurking in the bowels of your HVAC systems. And 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning, they also have access to, you ready for this? Mr. Sparky Electric. I've used them in my home as electricians, and also Benjamin Franklin Plumbing. So all of your home needs like that, they can help you. Give them a call, 855-1-HOUR, 855-1-HOUR, 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning. Corey Clinton and the team, best warranties and guarantees in the industry you'll find, and mention my name. I also have a little part of the website, 1hourheatandair.com/Jimmy Lakey, 1hourheatandair.com/Jimmy Lakey, and make sure you tell them that I mention me over and over again, because it gives tingles up their legs when they hear my name there. It just help them out with that. 1hourheatandair.com/Jimmy Lakey. You're welcome. All right. Nice to have all of you here on the show. A couple more stories. We've got a great guest coming up. So we've talked about the unhinged nature of Jasmine Crockett. Man, she's off the hinges, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens. And eventually, all the rhetoric. Remember the attempted assassination of Donald Trump, and you say, what would inspire that? What would inspire that kind of nonsense? Well, it's all the hate mongering and the Trump derangement syndrome that went on. And you have people like Jasmine Crockett that continue to just promote this propaganda. And, as a student of Rwanda, because of our charity work in River's Promise, and you kind of look at what happened there that brought about a genocide, the Rwanda genocide. 1 million people died in 90 days. It was a combination of rhetoric that was fueled and spread by the media, and rhetoric of calling people names. They called people cockroaches, and they had all these lingo. We get called racist, bigot, homophobe, xenophobe, etc. They always have names, and they pounded in your head, Nazi, tyrant, Hitler, etc. Pounded in your head over and over and over again, and eventually people go to a breaking point. point, and they think now they're saving the country. They think they're putting on the cape and they're becoming Captain America. So people like Jasmine, Crockett, and AOC, and everybody that called Donald Trump all these names, they are really buying into the propaganda that has actually caused civil wars and genocide before, because they just continue to demonize people over and over again. It's disagreement and demonization are two different things. And unfortunately, the American left has become really good at demonization, and they're not real good at disagreement. Disagreement would be you have a conversation about ideas and conversation about philosophies and a conversation about solutions and a conversation about what the end is and how do we get to that end. And that's what disagreements is. And we used to be able to be pretty decent at that in this country. But when Donald Trump came down those escalators, and really probably started back before that, but it really percolated to the top when he came down the escalator that we could no longer have disagreement. We just have to have demonization. And that's why they don't want to discuss the ideas. They just want to call you names. Let's have a debate on immigration at the southern border. No, you're a racist. America believes by polling numbers that we should seal up the southern border and we should deportations okay. You're a racist. It's not the arena of ideas. It's the demonization, because long-term, the demonization they think damages your brand. And unfortunately, it might. And unfortunately, in places like the beautiful country of Rwanda, I call it my second home, it led to 1 million people dying in 90 days. So Jasmine Crockett is using some very dangerous behavior just the last 48 hours. I mean, saying that Elon Musk has to be taken out and that Ted Cruz has to be banged with a hammer or hit over the head over and over again. Dangerous stuff there. Dangerous stuff. And again, the sad part is, people say, well, that's not all Democrats. Well, sad part is the supposedly leadership of the Democrat Party has not condemned it. That's not all Democrats. The rank and file are still members. I mean, drop out of the party. Send them a message. Say, we're not putting up with this crap. Not going to put up with this crap anymore. There's a reason that Tulsi Gabbard, there's a reason that RFK Jr., there's a reason that a few others have abandoned the party. Oh, by the way, speaking of abandoning the party, I got to go to my guest here. Yeah, we'll go. Yeah, it was 8:45, but she's ready to go in the green room, I'm told. So I've jumped to it. You ready for this? Bill Maher, comedian, who's actually kind of a thinker. He's been on the Greg Gutfeld show, and you disagree with him politically, but he can have a disagreement with you. Again, there's difference between disagreement and demonization. And the left, for the most part, is all about demonization. Well, Bill Maher, comedian, hosts his own show, I think a weekly show that shows up. And there's a story today that he's going to the White House to meet with President Trump. Good. They probably not necessarily big fans of each other, probably have disagreements, and that's fine. But Bill Maher's announced he's getting ready to go to the White House. And they said, what do you want us to know about your visit to the White House? He says, I'm not going to dress like Zelensky did. He's going to put on a proper suit. Even though he may disagree with the guy politically, that's fine to disagree with someone politically. He's going to put on a suit and respect the office of the Oval Office. So Bill Maher's going to the White House. I'm not sure. I guess it's this week sometime. I guess it's this week that they did that. Roger's in there talking about the Rwandan genocide. The French actually trained the Army militia that perpetrated the genocide in Rwanda. That's a fact, true. Everyone wants to idolize the democracy-loving Europeans. Now, if you want to go to, just in the past week, the Rwandans are still angry with the Belgians, who were one of the colonists of them, and helped perpetrate the divisions that for almost a century divided the country rather than unite the country. But the French were actually, you can find videos, secret videos of you wonder where all these people got machetes and knives and swords and stuff. French mercenaries. French are still kind of persona non grata in Rwanda, and they just, I think, recently kicked out the Belgian delegation. These people, these freedom-loving Europeans that really love Zelensky, they sure didn't love the black people of Rwanda like they love the little cracker in Ukraine. That sounds like a storybook for children. The Little Cracker in Ukraine. I'm going to write a book too. Not only am I going to start doing Bible readings on TikTok, I'm going to start writing books. The Little Cracker in Ukraine, the autobiography for children of Volodymyr Zelensky. Yeah, no, they love Zelensky, right? They sure didn't. They sure didn't love the hatred that was going on in Rwanda. Again, 25 years ago. Jimmy, that's past. Don't relive the past. Well, you got to kind of judge the past by the future. All right, before I go to my guest. Anybody remember the name of Mia Love, Representative Mia Love? I meant to do this yesterday, and I didn't get to it. Mia Love was a trailblazing American politician, a commentator, best known for being the first Black Republican woman elected to Congress. She was born in Brooklyn in 1975 to Haitian parents. She had a bachelor's degree from the University of Hartford. She was raised Catholic, but then converted to Mormonism, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, in 1998. Before she got into politics, she worked as a flight attendant, moved into politics, and later on became the mayor of Saratoga Springs. Was elected into the House of Representatives in 2014, representing Utah's 4th District. She served 2 terms until 2019. Mia Love was a member of the House Financial Services Committee and the Congressional Black Caucus. Mia Love, over the weekend, lost her bout with cancer and passed away at the age of 49 years old. And I always loved Mia Love, and matter of fact, just recently had thought about her, just in passing. I was like, whatever happened to Mia Love? Is she still in Congress? I didn't know she represents Utah. Well, evidently she's been battling cancer, and she passed away. So may she rest in peace. And may we not forget Mia Love, a pioneering figure in American politics. And she broke the barriers, again, the first Black Republican member of Congress, and also the first Haitian American elected into the United States House of Representatives. Remember, we're supposed to really celebrate Kamala Harris was the first Indian American of something, or Black American, Indian American. And she got a lot of accolades for that. And if you condemn that, you were called racist. Why do the same people celebrate someone like Mia Love? Mia Love, first Haitian American elected to Congress, first Black Republican woman elected to the Congress, and it's just curious. I know if the American left didn't have double standards, they wouldn't have any standards at all. All right, let me go to my guest here. You ready for this? It's Maureen Steele. You say, oh, but Lakey, who's Maureen Steele? Well, I'm glad you asked me. Thank you very much. She's one of the co-founders of a group called the American Made Foundation, and I'll let her explain what the American Made Foundation is. She's been waiting in the green room patiently. I appreciate it. Maureen Steele, welcome into the program. Good morning. Oh, I don't have your audio, Maureen. Let's see if we can get your microphone on. Let me unmute you. Okay, let's try it now.
Sorry, that was me.
There you go. Good morning, Maureen. How are you?
I'm great. Good to be here. Thanks for having me on.
First of all, I want to dive into a couple of topics with you, and then we'll talk about the American Made Foundation. We're talking about things in Washington, D.C. all the time. It seems like the same story every day. And one of the stories that keeps being out there is these judges continue to think that they are over the executive branch in a way that they get to decide policy. Clear law says that we can get rid of illegal aliens in a national emergency. The power of deportation. Barack Obama was known as the deporter in chief, but suddenly Donald Trump's deporting people, and he's a bad guy, and it's got to go through the courts. Give me your thoughts about all these judges stepping in and overwhelmingly, by numbers, doing more to block the executive branch than they've done in previous administrations.
Well, I think it's criminal, actually. They're violating their oath. They're deliberately trying to undermine a duly elected president's agenda, which is the agenda of we the people. We want these deportations. We want this to happen. That's why we voted for President Trump. So they are way overstepping the authority that we gave them. The only authority they have is to interpret and apply the law within the confines of the Constitution, which they're thwarting. They don't have the right to do what they're doing. So I don't even know why this is even a question. President Trump actually has the ability to fire them. We don't need even a congressional hearing. That's not in the Constitution. The United States Constitution is the supreme law of the land. So, the Congress keeps trying to apply legislation. The states have done it to try through the bar, through the lawyers, through the judges, to try to insulate themselves so that they not only have immunity, but they can never be fired. And that's un-American, it's unconstitutional. And like I said, the supreme law of the land is the Constitution. You can't have any legislation or any statute or code that is repugnant to that Constitution. If it is, it's null and void, which there's reams of laws and legislation on the books that is repugnant to the Constitution, but our corrupt Congress and the bar and the corrupt judicial keeps pushing this through and forcing it on us like it is the law, and it isn't.
The voice of Maureen Steele will talk about her organization she co-founded called American Made Foundation. Maureen, it's fascinating. There's another story. We've been talking about the deportation one. And again, President Obama was the deporter in chief, and nobody squawked about that. Bill Clinton bragged about laying off $250,000 federal employees and cutting waste, fraud, and abuse, and nobody held that up in court. And yet Donald Trump does it, and suddenly deportations and laying off government workers is a bad thing. But there's one that hasn't been covered a lot. A federal judge has blocked President Trump's ban on transgender people serving in the U.S. military as it happened. I mean, literally, he's announcing it, and the courts are, nope, you can't do that. Stop writing. They're stopping in mid-sentence. He's the commander-in-chief. That is a duty given to him by the Constitution. If he wants to change and tell the branches of military, everybody needs to be able to do 50 sit-ups before or 25 pull-ups before they get approved to come into the branch of service, and that's his prerogative. He is the commander-in-chief, and he has his finger on the button to do a lot of global damage if he wants to use the military that way. And yet a federal judge in D.C. says, you can't tell people that are transgender they can't join. They have to be able out in the military. A judge blocks that, even as he's signing the order.
Yeah, that's just insane. I mean, again, some of these judges are shooting from the hip here. It's not, they don't have the authority to do it. I'm just shocked that Pam Bondi and Trump's team isn't pushing back harder and actually filing charges on these judges and bringing in the military to just remove them from the bench. To me, this is sedition. They are undermining the rule of law. And at the detriment of the American people. We've been invaded, and we need to get these people out. And we need a strong military. The whole point of a military isn't a social experiment, and it's not to promote DEI agendas. It's to protect our nation. We need the best, the strongest, the fastest, the brightest in our military. It's not mamby-pamby social justice hour here. That's just insanity to me, and I can't even believe it's being entertained, and that there's actual judges that are falling for this and really trying to undermine our great nation.
Yeah. There have been some talk among conservatives. I know our own congresswoman from the state of Colorado, where I dwell, lives up the street from me, several miles, but up the street. Lauren Boebert, I know other congresspeople have filed articles of impeachment against, I think, Boasberg, the judge in D.C., and maybe others. You got other people say impeachment's not the answer. And even Chief Justice John Roberts came out and rebuked Donald Trump and the GOP for talking about impeaching judges. And before I pass this question to you, I heard Hugh Hewitt, a conservative commentator that sometimes gets it wrong, says that John Roberts had to do that because his job is to protect all of the judiciary. And I'm like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. That's like the Speaker of the House has a job to protect everybody in the House. No, even if you're the leader of the caucus, you sometimes have to tell people you're out of line there. Give me your thoughts. Is impeachment the answer here?
No, it isn't, because that impeachment would have to go through Congress by their rules that they made up. It's not constitutional, but they're corrupt. I mean, our Senate and our Congress is wildly corrupt. They're bought and paid for, and I think the more that DOJ uncovers, the more we see the corruption within DC. It's absolutely a swamp. How do you make $180,000 a year and 4 years later you're worth $20 million? 8 years later you're worth $50 million. These people are bought and paid for by the money laundering schemes that they have going on. And as far as Justice Roberts goes, you can't impeach judges. They've lied to us for generations. Judges do not have lifetime positions. They're only in there on good behavior. And there is nothing in the Constitution that says, you have to go through Congress to get rid of a judge. If the judge isn't on good behavior, if he's warring against the Constitution, which is warring against the American people, if they're overstepping their authority, they're gone. They can be removed. And so they've layered on top of our Constitution, statutes and codes that are repugnant to the Constitution, and they've made up these rules because it insulates their jobs. We don't need to play by those rules, and certainly President Trump doesn't. But again, you have the Bar Association, which is what sets the policy for teaching law. I'm putting that in air quotes here, to law students, people that go to law school to become a lawyer. So they're learning falsehoods, much like doctors go to medical school and they learn pharmacology. They don't learn about anything else. So for at first do no harm, they're poisoning people. Same thing with lawyers. They don't know the true law. In fact, I was just talking to a friend who went to Columbia University Law School graduation. Her niece graduated with a law degree. She said, "What did you think of con law, constitutional law class?" She never took it. It's not mandatory to take it at an Ivy League law school in our country. You don't even need to take con law. it's the supreme law of the land, and they don't take it. It's an elective. And that'll just show you they're brainwashing, the youth that go in to become attorneys. They don't even know the law, and they think they do. So that's what we're dealing with. We're dealing with generations of people that actually don't know the law.
Maureen Steele's my guest. She's a co-founder of a group called the American Made Foundation. Maureen, talk about the American Made Foundation. We see the website there on the screen there, AmericanMadeFoundation.org. What are you doing?
Sure. American Made Foundation was put together by Ann and I really to educate people about how to run a constitutional republic, educate them on how it was stolen from us in the first place. And we're producing documentaries, and that website has classes and education on it. And then we have American Made Action, which is our 501c4. American Made Foundation is a C3. The Action is a C4, and this is where we're bringing, the United Law Coalition, which is made up of over 100 affiliated lawyers and law firms that are ready to launch cases against these corrupt judges, these corrupt governors, corrupt agencies, and really hold them to task. We also are bringing DOJA. We'll be announcing that on the front steps of the DOJ in a few weeks. It is the Department of Government Accountability. When Trump came into office, he had said, I'm returning, the government to the American people. So, the American people are reporting for duty, and we will bring the accountability with the United Law Coalition. It needs to happen. The government, as you can see, Pam Bondi isn't bringing anything. Things aren't moving fast enough. We have a very short window to save our country from total tyranny, and we must act. So that's what American Made Foundation and American Made Action is doing.
If folks want to learn more about American Made Foundation, of course, the website's right there. Maureen, it is a pleasure. And I know you also have some training and some videos there because it's also, you're trying to empower and educate the grassroots. Not everything, you don't have to be in D.C. to make a difference. The grassroots is a great place to start right in your own backyard.
Absolutely. General Flynn says it all the time, local action and national impact. And that is so true. Let's clean up our own backyards.
Yeah. Maureen Steele, again, American Made Foundation. Appreciate you hopping in here today. God bless you. Appreciate you for doing that. AmericanMadeFoundation.org. That reminds me, at least in the state of Colorado, the glorious state of Colorado. Pre-Polis, it was a glorious state. How about that? The glorious state of Colorado. Elections are coming up. I've seen some signs going up in my enclave that I'm supposed to vote yes on something and vote no on something. I don't even know what they are. So I've got to do some research. And please, as your municipal elections happen in the coming days, would you be educated? That's probably going to be in early April for most of you in Colorado. Be educated. Do not. And I as you say in the good book, I beseech you, therefore, brethren and sistren, I beseech you that please don't sit out your local election. If your municipality is in this off year of an off year, they're going to have, I know in Colorado, I know my town, my enclave is going to have some local elections here real soon. If you're having some kind of an election coming up in April, please do not sit it out. It's one thing to sit and kvetch and bellyache about what's happening in Washington, D.C., but, if you're not helping in your own backyard and voting the correct way locally, then stop it. Stop it. The things that happen in your city, your town, your school administration, and your school board are probably much more directly going to affect your life immediately than what the thieves and den of liars does in Washington, D.C. So don't sit out these local elections. And so if you're like me, I didn't even know there was an election coming up, I'll be honest, until I saw a couple of signs up. One, they want me to give money to the fire department or something or equipment. I'm like, we just did that in the last election. I'll investigate, but probably going to be a no because I'm not going to do that every time. It's every time they go to the vote. Help the children. I helped the children last time and your test score still sucks, so screw you. Obviously, the money I gave you last time is not helping the children because the kids can't still do reading, writing, and arithmetic. So why should I give a school district to any place in most places in America any more money? I voted against it. The last one in my enclave. And same thing. I did vote a couple of years ago to expand. We had grown so much in our area that we had like 2 police. And I'm like, we probably should have a little bit more public safety than that. So yeah, I did vote there. But, every time I'm not going to, we need one more. No, I'm sorry. I don't think we do. Sorry, apologies. Anyway, find out, participate in your local election. Talk about Pam Bondi there. And again, we're early in this Trump administration. We are very early in this Trump administration. So I'm willing to kind of continue to I don't want to say wait and see what happens, but we're not exactly sure how it's all going to shake out. It does take time. Some of these things are going to take members of Congress to pass some things. Not everything, anything done by executive order can be undone by executive order. Don't forget that. Anything done by executive order can be undone by executive order. So, Donald Trump can have all the signing ceremonies he wants, but you got to have Congress snoop into gear here, and hopefully they will. Pam Bondi, speaking of her, and again, it takes time. I believe it takes time. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt that rather than just start throwing out charges, you're going to have to bring a case and an investigation, and you have to go to somebody and say, here's the indictment, and hopefully the judge is going to not stand in the way. But you got to have your I's dotted and your T's crossed. Well, Pam Bondi, and I think I had the audio somewhere, and I can't find it on my screen now. We'll play it tomorrow. Pam Bondi said she thanked Elon Musk at a cabinet meeting, and the cameras were on, and she thanked him, and she says, we're seeing so much fraud. She goes, not just waste and abuse. She says, we're uncovering fraud. And she told people, she says, those who we find committed fraud, she says, we're coming for you. Kind of a threat, unveiled threat. We're coming for you. So again, you say, well, when are people going to get perp walked for this? Well, when you're unpeeling an onion, it takes a while. You got to figure it out, cross it. You got to forensic accounting. Although they got to figure it out. I mean, they can cut things with a hatchet and they go, that was too much, and they piece it all back together. But then they got to sort through all the money trail and find out which of this was just wasteful spending, but which one is fraudulent. Wasteful spending is wasteful spending. That's just lack of accountability, lack of government oversight, bureaucracy oversight, congressional oversight. That's what that is. But fraud is a whole different thing. And so that's what I think it sounds like Pam Bondi is helping these department heads do. Okay, how much was wasteful? Okay, let's get rid of the wasteful. Let's figure out how to be less wasteful. Waste is one thing, but fraud is a whole different thing. And she says they're uncovering massive levels of fraud, and she wants to get rid of that. So I've got the audio for what she said. But it is, I think it's very fascinating. I've had some stories on my show sheet for the last couple of days, and I don't want to keep passing them off. I thought this was kind of a funny story. The stories of an administration always come out later, after a presidency. And the Secret Service is always kind of telling you about who was in the White House. If anybody's ever gone back and heard the Secret Service's agents tell about the Clintons, Hillary Clinton was an old battle axe. She was an evil woman. I think they called it, if she was on a flight, they called it the broomstick. I mean, they had a nickname. No, if you got put on Hillary Clinton's detail, it was punishment. Not really, or you got sent to Montana. That's also punishment. And give me Montana, not Hillary, please. Sounds like a country song. Secret Service agents, according to the Western Journal, are thrilled to be done with the Bidens. Now, I want to just do a compare and contrast. You leave it as what it is. Go back in history as far as I remember, as far as Secret Service following politics, just getting into talk radio. The Clintons were known, especially Hillary, were known to be horrible to the Secret Service. One Secret Service agent said, I can't carry your bag. I have hands free. And she says, if you want to be effing on this detail, you carry my GD bag. So Hillary was known to be an evil witch, which probably doesn't surprise any of us. Bill just doofus. But anyway, so the Clintons had a bad reputation. H.W. Bush and Barbara Bush back in they were known to be great to the Secret Service. The Secret Service told great stories about Ronnie Reagan as well. Fast forward, the Clintons, Hillary had a bad reputation. George W. Bush was known to be very well liked by the Secret Service as well. His family was very gracious. A couple of stories about their daughters sneaking out of the White House as teenagers and stuff, but with their detail. But that's fun stuff. That's family stuff. But they were known to be well. The Obamas didn't. I don't believe, I haven't read much from the Secret Service saying that they were disliked. It was the Clintons were horrible. Well, here we go. Secret Service agents thrilled to be rid of the Bidens. One agent was targeted after a Biden grandchild incident. Remember, wasn't it members of the Secret Service that kept getting attacked by his dog as well? And they had to send the dog off somewhere else. The children and grandchildren of former President Joe Biden have been relieved of Secret Service protection by Donald J. Trump. And from one report, the Secret Service is relieved to be rid of them. Trump made the announcement on Monday, that was yesterday, or last Monday, noting that, so a week ago, noting that Hunter Biden in particular has Secret Service protection for extended period of time, all paid for by the U.S. taxpayer. There are as many as 18 people on Hunter Biden's detail. This is ridiculous. He is currently vacationing in all places like South Africa, where the human rights of people has been strenuously questioned, and Hunter Biden's hanging out with South Africa, and the government's paying for all these Secret Service agents of 18 at least to be down there with him. Please be advised that effective immediately, Hunter Biden will no longer receive Secret Service protection. Likewise, Ashley Biden has 13 agents as being taken off the list as well. 13 agents to protect Ashley Biden, 18 to protect Hunter. Unless you feel bad about this, keep three things in mind. First, only former presidents and their spouses receive secret. We talked about this yesterday, and I researched it. Only Secret Service protection is extended to former presidents and their spouses after they leave office, not their children. Extending it to your children and grandchildren is a privilege granted by the president. It is not a right. Second, what could possibly happen? Hunter and Ashley Biden could hardly be used as pawns by terror groups, say, because let's be real here, if not as their father has remembers the nuclear codes, or even he doesn't even remember he's president. So that's it. Finally, consider that according to a report from Real Clear Politics, Susan Crabtree said Secret Service members were being used as Uber service by one of Hunter Biden's children, and the driver allegedly faced retaliation for it. According to a Tuesday afternoon post on X last week, this is what Susan Crabtree wrote at Real Clear Politics. Many Secret Service agents are celebrating Trump's decision to drop Hunter and Ashley Biden's Secret Service details as the agency continues to struggle with manpower and recruiting issue. Many Secret Service agents are relieved they no longer have to cover Hunter and Biden and Ashley Biden and at least 5 of the Biden grandchildren. Susan Crabtree says, quote, one agent is alleging that he was seriously retaliated against by top Secret Service officials in part for following agency policy and not becoming an Uber service for one of the Biden's granddaughters. So granddaughter says, hey, I need a ride. And he says, I'm not allowed to do that. Well, the bosses found out about that, and they retaliated against the Secret Service agent because he was actually obeying the rules. One of Hunter Biden's children, her name is Macy Biden, had a conflict with the Secret Service detail during a late night of partying in August of 2021. The Secret Service agent had driven home Cowboy, that was her name, one of Hunter Biden's daughters and her friends after a late night of dancing. Macy was roughly 21 at the time, so of legal drinking age, but it's unclear whether alcohol or drugs. Apparently, the agent made a legal complaint against the Secret Service for retaliation, and for good reason. Anyway, the Secret Service is done with the Biden family. And the Biden family, again, accomplished very little in the private sector and yet somehow lived gloriously large for many years off the government dole and the taxpayers' benefits. So all of us should be celebrating that Hunter Biden's not sucking our tax dollars as he vacations and does whatever the hell he's doing in South Africa. Isn't it interesting? A couple of weeks ago, Hunter Biden said he's broke. Remember that? Hunter Biden said he couldn't pay his court fees because he was broke. And then last week, Hunter Biden was partying in South Africa. Last time I know, the definition of broke means if you're broke and you can't pay your court fees, you don't go party it up in South Africa, do you? I mean, I'm just trying to figure out what the definition of broke is. He says he's not selling any of his drug-induced paintings or whatever those things were. He's not doing those. I wonder if he still has money for prostitutes. I mean, if he's got money for South Africa, maybe he went to South Africa because he got money for prostitutes, but they're cheaper in South Africa. I don't know. I would just ask him. 18 agents down there with him, though. And Trump says, get your ass home by yourself. You ain't going to use the taxpayer dollars. It's fascinating. All right. What else do we have here? Looking at the clock. It's time to do meme roulette, but I want to, first of all, before we do that, I want to remind you all the great sponsors of the show. We have a lot of great friends for many years in radio. Corey Clinton, 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning, mentioned them earlier. Lehman Lewis Financial. And of course, I would be remiss in my efforts today if I did not remind you that if you're in that I-25 corridor in Colorado, and Wellington up near the Wyoming border, head on down south past Denver, east, west, north, south. You need to remember the name of Sherry Creed. April, we're about to head to April, and April is going to be, these are the months, April and May, are going to be great for showcasing your home, making the greenery and the colors and everything really stand out. and there's going to be more listings though to compete with, and so that's going to make buyers more active, so making your market results more predictable. So you're going to have, right now there's a great time to get your home beautified, get the greenery going and all that. That's important, but you're also going to have a lot of buyers ready to go. Buyers are getting active. Buyers are starting to pop up here. The bottom line, if you're contemplating selling your home, Sherry Cree, homeswithsherry.com, she can help you figure out how to get that home ready. She'll walk you through the process, and it's white glove service, so she can walk you through the entire thing. Just have a consultation with her. Have her do a walkthrough of your home if you want, or do a Zoom call with her, and she can tell you, hey, let's get this thing going, because buyers are about to get active, and you need to start moving to take advantage of that buyer activity. If you're a seller out there, you need to know that buyers are starting to look. Buyers are saying it's warm. If we start looking now, we might find something by the summer, or the next couple of months, maybe the next few weeks, and can have a closing date after the school year, whatever the case may be. This is a key time, a very pivotal time to talk about real estate and talk about your goals in real estate. Sherry wants to approach it and help you find a way to create generational wealth. Again, April and May are some of the highest activity months, both large numbers of listings hitting the market, large numbers of buyers hitting the market, and it's a real predictable result. You're going to have a lot of buyers, a lot of sellers, and why don't you make sure you're on the best end of that right now? So contact Sherry. The number of showings declined once school is out in June. So this is the key time to get rock and rolling. Kids are out, vacations are happening, and the showings start to decrease. But April and May can really be hot months for you. So homeswithsherry.com, consultation. Don't forget, she takes a hit. She takes a deduction on her commission and discounts that for anybody that's a veteran, a first responder, a military person. She also has special love and care for seniors and caregiving families. And listen to this. She'll also take a portion of her proceeds and she'll donate it to the charity of your choice of her compensation. She's a wonderful lady. Homeswithsherry.com. Reach out to her, homeswithsherry.com. And again, get popping. April and May, that real estate market's going to start popping in Colorado. And again, I say it again, it's a public service announcement. She'll make sure you don't live in an area infested by Tren de Aragua. And she could probably also make sure you don't live next door to our governor, because God knows what kind of parties they have at his house. Don't even want to know. Homeswithsherry.com. I don't know where I come up with this stuff. It just happens. Homeswithsherry.com. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's play the meme roulette. I got my famous little globe back here in my hand, and did not have this while I traveled the glorious state of Texas. But we play meme roulette. We just steal things shamelessly off the internet because we're too lazy to make them ourselves. Here's a meme roulette. Stolen memes. Maybe Elon Musk can buy Pfizer so we can watch the Democrats become the anti-vaxxers. It's not a bad idea. It's like the idea we had yesterday if Elon Musk should buy Harley, and then we could watch all these people try to burn down a Harley bar or a biker shop. That would be fun too. Elon, we're spending Elon's money very well, but I think this would be fantastic. Elon come out and then go anti. Round around the globe we go. We steal the memes from where we don't know, nor do we care. Disney quietly cancels a live-action Pocahontas starring Dylan Mulvaney. Anybody seen that Snow White movie? I don't think so. All right, I'm spinning the wrong way. Hang on. Round and around the world we go. That brings bad luck. Where we steal the memes from, no one knows. The left is pretty dumb, so this should work. There's your Cybertruck Toyota. That's not the right jingle, but you get the idea. That's Red Robin. The left is pretty dumb. This should work. That's advice. This could be a public service announcement. If you're a Tesla owner, you might want to do that, because people like Tampon Tim are very violent against your cars. Round around the globe we go. Where we steal the memes from, no one knows. A couple more in the meme machine this morning. Elon Musk disguises the IRS building as a Tesla dealership so Democrats will burn it down. I support this. I support putting the sign on the IRS building that says Tesla. I think that's fantastic. Are there a couple of other government agencies we should put a Tesla sign in front of so that they can take their Molotov cocktails? And I'm just asking. You know, the left is a very violent group, so I'm just trying to see how we can assist in this. All right, I'm stuck on a window. Here we go. Sometimes my computer freaks out. Okay, I think we got one more meme in the meme roulette machine. Round around the world we go. Where we steal the memes from, no one knows. If you're just listening, we have a cartoon image. You're not watching. Mommy, why won't the mainstream media talk about the Biden's criminal activities? Mommy says because they're criminals too. Isn't that the truth, my friends? We're controlled by a bunch of cabal media types and a lot of criminal activity. All right, let me read a couple more of the chats that have popped in. And again, always share the word about the show. We appreciate you doing it. We seem to be growing every day. And it's not just the people that watch it live, it's the people that watch it throughout the day. So if you're watching us throughout the day today, good morning and hello in the future. We hope you're doing well up there in the afternoon because we're still back in the morning. But hello from the past and hello in the future. Ray says this, Jimmy, if you want the Dems to drop the trans issue, Trump should come out as a female and then just watch the head. We've said that before. If Trump would just identify as a female for one day and declare himself for the first female president, it would be remarkable to watch him what I call pretzelize himself up and freak out. Jim says this, I want to hear about them Vice President Biden parties held at his residence at the Naval Observatory for his staff and the White House interns during Obama's first term. I don't know anything about it. I hope the book comes out. Hope the truth is told. Joseph said I had a great interview with Maureen Steele. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. I'm blushing here. Melissa says, I just found your channel. I loved it. Hello, Melissa. Melissa found us on the Facebook. We're on several Facebook pages. And again, if you missed if this morning, the Instagram's down. It's not our fault. IG's down. Blame Meta or whoever. Roger says Corey Clinton 1 hour heating is a great human besides HI. Yes, he's a very great human, a great supporter of our charity Rivers Promise. If you're ever missing a platform, or we give you a public service announcement, you ever miss us, like Instagram's down today, Meta's having problems, evidently. We're on at least 3 Facebook feeds, facebook.com/Red Wave America, facebook.com/The Media Equalizer, facebook.com/Jimmy Lakey fan page. By the way, that's me. Spell the whole dang thing out, facebook.com/Jimmy Lakey fan page. If you're on the YouTube, it's Jimmy Lakey. That should look up my name. We may change that. We got to change it to the real Jimmy Lakey to match up with the TikTok. We're coming to TikTok. We're going to let the Chinese know what we think. We're going to come to TikTok there. You think Mr. Wonderful's going to buy it? I think that'd be fantastic. I hope Mr. Wonderful gets it. I don't know. There's other people wanting to buy the TikTok, but I'm hoping. But we're going to be at TikTok. If you want to follow me on TikTok before everything, I mean, I'm just literally... I'm pure as the wind-driven snow on TikTok. I just have a name on there. It's called Real Jimmy Lakey. That's it, Real Jimmy Lakey. Do that. YouTube, if you ever miss us on one of these platforms, go to X, just look up my name. Rumble is also just my name. Ladies and gentlemen, it has been a slice of heaven, and I can't tell you the joy that it brings in my heart to know that you're out there and waking up early. Well, not really early. This is not early compared to the days of radio. But you spend a part of your day with me, and I mean that. It means a lot to me. And producer Chad as well. We'll shake our heads in mystery as to why you put up with us, but here we are. Now, we shake our heads in mystery as to why we put up with us, but we do. Ladies and gentlemen, I mean this from the bottom of my heart. Share the show. Tell everybody you like it. Don't forget our charity, riverspromise.org, riverspromise.com. Don't forget our casino gala coming up in May. We'd love to have all of you from across America come into Colorado for a great night of casino fun and charitable fundraising. Until we meet again tomorrow, you can contact us, info@jimmylakey.com if you need anything. Until we meet again, may God bless you. May God bless America. I am Jimmy Lakey. Peace. I'm out of here.